Well, hello and welcome. Today we're looking at 5,000 flashpoints identified in 2016 elections. Sometime in 2012, about 2,000 flashpoints. Now there are 3,000 more flashpoints. I know a few people who are flashpoints on their own, frustrated about bad roads and frustrated about energy whatsoever. However, you know, the security the police, Safe Asata says, look, they are not taking it easy. It's a matter for concern. We shouldn't worry because they've identified and they're keeping a close eye on it. I just want to find out what constitutes a flashpoint. Why would you sit here today and know that, oh, in Edumasa come December elections, they may fight or they will fight or cause some vandalism whatsoever? I mean, what identifies that? We need to try and find out so that maybe if you are at home somewhere and you identify some of those things, you can put a call through, because whatever happens, we still need our Ghana intact. And then there's cry for peace, jump for peace, walk for peace, sing for peace. It's all going to happen until we finish voting. Are they really necessary, or are we just inciting ourselves by this overcrying for peace? Who knows? However, my name is Nana Nsakwa, the fourth, Akwamwa Dumasahini, and also your host. When I come back, I'm with a very reputable gentleman who needs no introduction, but I'll have to introduce him anyway. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying. 5,000 flashpoints identified in the 2016 elections. And we want our Ghana intact. With me in the studio is Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso, my own senior brother, senior research fellow, and also a lecturer at the Kofi Annan Training Institute.
Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College.
Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College. He wears many, many hats, but should I just say security analyst this evening?
I don't know.
Yeah, this evening he's just going to be a security analyst. I mean, he wears many hats. International this, diplomatic that, but security analyst for now. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Grateful to have you here.
Right.
Doc, I mean, when they say we've identified 5,000 flashpoints, what exactly have they seen to raise any concern? Because, I mean, elections are like 4 or 5 months away. So what is it?
Well, the police, let me say good evening to our viewers. The police may have their own variables in identifying what the flashpoints may be. It may be from their research, they've seen some characters, some structures, some information that lead to a fact that if things are not taken into consideration, the possibility of some untoward situations might arise during the elections. But naturally, when you're talking about conflicts and where they may come from, there are latent kind of things that you look at. You get the typology of the conflict and you know really exactly what might happen. In conflict terms, in Ghana, we have 74 flashpoints, as we also call them. It may be land, it may be chieftaincy, it may be political, and you have those flashpoints where they could erupt at any time. So I strongly suspect that the police have gotten their own variables in arriving at those flashpoints. I can imagine that there are those areas where it is always difficult. People, it's like the battle between especially the NDC and the MPP and the characters that are involved. Typical of some kind of skirmishes anytime there is election. And then they may have multiplied this time, and that is why we have about 5,000 flashpoints. I remember, was it Odududu also? In the last election, somebody brazenly walked in, held the ballot box, and shot some rounds into the air with a pistol. Actually, the police and the military were there, and they were able to subdue him. What happened to the person, we don't know yet. Such a point must be a flashpoint, because this time around, the other party would not wait. And so the police might know that there are characters in that area, and therefore they should watch out for such untoward kind of characters. Yeah.
If I live in an area I mean, is there something that I can spot, hear, see, that I may say, I'm concerned about this and therefore I'm going to ring? Because we are overly political, we are very divisive.
Yes.
So it's all, I'm MPP, I'm NDC, I'm MPP, I'm NDC, mainly. And so how do you identify that this division is a bit too much, or it's the normal division?
First, there are very known characters, die-in-the-wool kind of characters who belong to some political parties and they are ready to go for the kill. And so the police know them. In fact, I would doubt if the police don't know those characters. But if they haven't crossed any line, you can't arrest them or you can't prevent them from voting, kind of. And so they are known in the first place. Then, if you look at the structures within the area, there may be groups that have been meeting and clandestine movements and whatnot, attitudes towards election, planning towards some mayhem during the elections and whatnot. The police may have heard about these things. Then there is also the situation that there must have been some historical kind of evidence of the very fact that in this particular sport, as for the MPP people, hey, or as for the NDC people, or as for the CPP people. So all these things come into play. In your own area, you might even on your own know that there are some characters who are just rascally. They swim in chaos and they always want to bring chaos. The way the people talk, the way people promise mayhem and things like that. All these things are there for the police to note and be able to know what to do. My concern will be the what to do and how to do it. But that there are flashpoints about 5,000, I'm not surprised, because the whole country is under a canopy of some social psyche, you know.
Doc, is 5,000 not too much?
Well, I wouldn't say so. I thought we would have had, and I believe almost all the, how many is it, 270,000 polling stations?
No, 29,000.
29,000.
Yeah.
All the 29,000 police stations should be put under that radar, should be put under that watch, that there are these are potential flashpoints. This is how the police should go towards that there are flashpoints, but then let us assume that all the police stations are capable of being flashpoints. Why do I say that? Because the country is now reeling under some canopy, you know, a kind of psychology which is a do and die affair. I mean, it's like politics has become a zero-sum game. It is from this that we are having these flashpoints. It's a zero-sum game. Elsewhere, if we understand democracy, who wins an election does not matter. How the person rules is what matters. But now we are more concerned about who wins. It's my party must win.
Even within the party, who in the party?
Exactly, kind of, you know. And under such a situation, people don't reason. In fact, rationality has gone to the dogs. And people, it's like, it must be X, not Y. So if you speak Y, and it has permeated the whole of society. It has permeated the whole of society. Dare you enter into an argument about something untoward, and you get one position which has nothing to do with the crux of the matter that you are discussing, but just because of where he belongs. You know, that is something which makes me believe that the 5,000 is even on the low side. Again, outside this kind of psyche that the nation has been thrusted into, there's so much indiscipline in the country. So much indiscipline. And so the police are right to say that there are many more flashpoints. Everybody is undisciplined. All right? It is being ably aided by the media, social media especially. And with such a situation, the police, look, I can imagine what the police are going, the hell that they're going to have during the election. So it might be very true that the whole country is sick, especially the question of indiscipline.
Is this election, are the stakes in this election any higher than the previous ones? Because every time there's one or two reasons for which we say, oh, this is his last time, or he has to have a second term, and therefore the stakes are higher. Is this one the same as any other one, or
I think every election
this one is higher?
Every election is as the previous one, just because we don't understand politics in Ghana. In the first place, as I said, it has become a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
And so the stakes are high. Since 1992, you could see that the stakes keep on rising. The adrenaline level in our elections keep on rising. 92, Akuntabesi Fomu. your GMI, you know, that kind of thing. And the battles there. Well, things went a little cool. 2000 was another year when we were very close. That it's a do and die affair. Well, the NPP won, and therefore things cooled. 2004, the stakes were high, but it wasn't that because things were okay. 2008 was higher than 2000, and 2012 was the highest of all elections that we have had in Ghana before. And so beyond 2012, where we battled it out in the courts, and the courts gave their ruling, I thought, you see, when courts give their ruling and we accept them, things begin to slide back in the waters. It's like receding waters from the waves. But no, that rather has given us some more kind of strength to say that never again, kind of. And so it is this never again that we aren't going to go to the courts, or we may go to the courts on the elections are won at the polling stations. The interpretation of the court proceedings has clearly given us that kind of stances that this is a do and die affair.
Well, let me deviate a bit. Was the interpretation too unclear, if I may say?
It was very clear. For me, it was clear. The Supreme Court just said it clear. The petition is dismissed. And that XYZ, it would have disenfranchised A, B, C, D, and that. The lawyers would interpret it them all. And I settled for it, for example, well, maybe as an intellectual. But then the other interpretations are, oh, fine. It's like we didn't do our homework well. It is at the police stations that, and you see, since then, since 2012, it has become a mantra. And I'm believing that the sort of problems we are going to have at the police stations, we can't imagine, because that is where people have now believed elections are won. And that if it reaches whatever collation center, whatever it is, the Supreme Court will not be able to reverse the thing. That has created a kind of psyche which is very dangerous, unfortunately, very unfortunately. But rather than us being allowed to understand the Supreme Court, and rather than us being quiet about it and having discerning views on what it meant for us, for me, what I took from the Supreme Court is that the EC rather needs some more kind of reforms, serious reforms that will make our elections free and fair. The report or the Supreme Court outcome shouldn't have given us those stakes. It should have given us the thinking that, hey, look, for credible elections, free and fair elections, elections which we shall not fight at the courts, we need some clear guidelines from the EC, things we can relate to. Credible register, a credible way of resulting, credible way of transmitting, a credible way of announcing results. And then, because other than that, we are not supporting our institutions of state, all right? We are not supporting the EC. The police come in, they beat some people, and then we don't support the police, and then on and on and on. We remove our trust from state institutions, and that's very dangerous for security.
I was just coming to trust. I was just coming to trust.
That's right.
How much does it contribute to the stability?
It contributes more to instability. In the sense that many more people have now withdrawn their support to the state, onto their parties. People don't believe in state institutions anymore, generally. People don't believe in the police. Other than that, you wouldn't go school children. You know, I was really, shocked when I read in the paper some time back that in the north, one of the towns I've forgotten, school kids went to attempt to burn a police station. I mean, come on. That's outrageous. To the extent that school children, you know, what are we doing to our state?
They're not burning a hat. The whole police station.
You know, the whole police station. Because one of their kind misbehaved and he was arrested or kind of that. You can imagine. Secondly, crime has now gotten political colors in Ghana. So, excuse me, Nana, I can't, but this is a studio. If I said this at the Dumasa, I would have got trouble. Nana, if I slapped you right now, I bet people will advise you to go to your party if you have any, and not to the police station. I'm worried about that that people don't believe in the police. People believe that the police is government police, kind of. People don't believe in the BNI. They believe that BNI is NDC, BNI. These things are very dangerous for a state. When people don't trust their own institutions.
Doc, could it be because the heads of these institutions are appointed by the ruling party?
One way or the other, yes. But I think you do yourself a disservice if you are appointed and you don't play or you don't work according to the remit of the Constitution, but you work to please your master who appointed you. It's everywhere. Heads of state appoint people to positions. Why should that appointment enslave you to the whims and caprices of the ruling government? Why should that appointment make you pander to the whatever, you know? And again, you know, many governments would want to belt state institutions under their hypnosis. And for them, it's okay so that they do their bidding, which is wrong. It's dangerous where security is concerned. Because at a time when there is chaos and instability, these institutions are the very first institutions that are attacked. Everywhere where there has been conflict, the first institution to be attacked is the police. When they are overwhelmed, the military comes in and the people are able to get arms, they fight the military. The military itself turns around to fight each other because they then begin to take positions also. And so state institutions must be as neutral as possible where security is concerned.
In that case, should the security fraternity, each one of them, grow their own general as they go along, find a modality of growing their own general that has got nothing to do with ruling government?
I have written several articles about such a situation. In the first place, I advocated, and on several fora I've advocated, that even though in most places heads of such institutions are upon the advice of some other committee, the president nominates them or appoints them, I have said, for example, that I don't see the reason why heads of such institutions like the IGP, the CDS, and several other institutions should be coterminous with a ruling government. I mean, I don't see why. There must be a situation where a ruling government comes to meet an IGP. A new government comes to meet an IGP, meets a new CDS, and does not appoint such persons. Not just like the Supreme Court, you are there, and you know, governments come, governments go, the Supreme Court is there. Why can't we, in order to crystallize our democracy, because democracy is not a given anywhere. I say you are practicing it, and these are the variables you got to go. Yes, there are basic variables, but then you can vary it to suit you in such a way that there's more stability, because democracy thrives on stability. I would want to see a situation where the CDS stays, even though there is a new government. In such a situation, the heads of this institution will work only according to the remit of the Constitution. That is, our trust will be in those institutions, and when we don't trust them, we take them to court. But we have a situation where even if an institution is doing something untoward and citizens begin to rise against it, the incumbent government always rally behind them. The police have done nothing. For example, if the police beat us and they shoot us in the eye, you have a government official telling you that it is tomatoes that has been put in the eye. I mean, that's a little weird. Or, you know, you have government officials, defending the police when it is not their work to defend. The police have their PR, which they're doing well in explaining their own things. And if somebody doesn't like what the police has done, go to court. If somebody doesn't like what the BNI is doing, they go to court. That is democracy. But when democracy has all institutions of state belted under the hypnosis of the incumbent government, trusts to these institutions are withdrawn. And you can bet me, I can bet you, today, many more Ghanaians believe in their political parties more than they believe in state institutions. Somebody does something, it's a police thing. He rushes to the minister or rushes to this thing. Somebody has a problem, he calls the IGP. That kind of thing. Democracy will not thrive when we have such a situation where trust is removed. And when there is chaos, in the end, let me tell you, in Kosovo and other places, it starts with individuals against the system. And because they are against the system, the state also represses them. As the repression goes on, political parties come in, and the political parties vie each other. As the political parties vie each other and you see one party losing, individuals begin to look for a new alignment. What is the new alignment? Maybe the tribe. So it may start from state and citizens confrontation, then it moves on to withdrawal of state support to the tribe. From the tribe to another, maybe religion. The next stage might be religion. You just look at which institution of yours will be where you place your support, and it's very dangerous. If we want democracy, then our multi-ethnicness of Ghana, our differing kind of this thing, should let us allow state institutions to be the pivot of our democracy.
Which one is more dangerous for a people to align to, religion or tribe?
Both. See, it doesn't become static. Nana, you and I speak Twi, we are Kans.
Yeah.
If I belong to CPP and you belong to KKK, and both of us are against, say, a state, and we're fighting. If the state is repressing us too much, and I see you they are repressing you lesser than me, I'll start fighting you, even though we speak the same language. Then you look around, and then it happens. Even in our own small community. Look, let me give you Pekichito little research. These are a people speaking one language, one culture. There is not a single word which is pronounced differently from these people.
Wow.
But they went to war. And they are antagonistic up to this time. During the war, there is that small town, what is the name of the town, going to Ho, where you have the police barrier. It is not a dead town. It used to be a promising town with a market and that kind of, it's dead completely. The police barrier is there. You could see huge houses with coconuts springing out of them. They went to war, not because they are not airways, but it reached a point where you are Chito, and if a Chito woman has married a Peki man, they got to separate during the war. If you don't want it, it will kill you. It happened in the north. So when you move your trust away from state institution, it moves on to something else. It can be party. It can move away from the party when the war is going on, to the tribe, to religion. Each one is dangerous. When it comes to the tribe, it's a do and die affair. When it's religion, Central African Republic, it started with state and rebels. Then it has now turned into religion, Christians, Muslims. It may turn to something else, you know. So we need to be very careful that state institutions are the arbiters. They are the neutral fulcrum around which all democratic things stand. If we don't allow state institutions to play this role, we are doing ourselves in.
I'm going to take a break, and then when I come, I just want to find out, how's in Ghana, gone past the test of time? Mali, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Nigeria. I mean, they've all been through it, and somehow we have survived it. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying we can't be careful, but are we being overly careful? I mean, I'm sure we've gone past fighting. Let's come back and hear what the security guys say. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we're looking at 5,000 flashpoints identified in the 2016 election. It's amazing, isn't it? Because I don't actually know anybody personally who'd say, oh, you know what, and I come 2016, I'm going to hit the road and go and fight. But send me your messages, 0560-800-000. Say that, look, I am really at a flashpoint now, and I'll go and fight. But talking about flashpoint, we look at Pong Katamanso, the DC is Alaji E.A. Tete. I am a flashpoint if you come and sort this road out, I'm telling you. Doc, they're blocking the road, so they've given the access road. You just think they'll use a grader to at least just level the access road? And I tell you what, that may call me a 200 flashpoint. So Alaji E.A. Tete, please. Pay attention so that we can reduce the flash.
So that Nana doesn't come with
it. Come with the flashpoints.
Right.
So Alaji E.A. Tete, I'll be reminding you every evening that, look, DC, come get us a grader to come and sort this road out. But though, before the break, I mean, this fight, flashpoint business, I mean, is it real? I mean, it surely won't be real. I mean, I don't know. Do you know anybody who's going to fight? I mean,
Well, you wouldn't know. You know, in conflict and instability, it's not the talk that we talk. It's not the things that we see that ignite the instability. No. It could be an innocuous situation unrelated to the main belligerent situation. Let me give you an example in our own history. We call some war Guinea Fowl War. Come on, give me a break. A Guinea Fowl War. I was teaching the soldiers some years back, and the Allied soldiers, I mean, the people from other countries who are part of the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, one just got up and said, "Sir, I don't understand. How can Guinea Fowl bring war?" That is the situation. That is the point. So it could be little children, 5 and 6, fighting over Kenke. One insulting the other that you NPP is so and so and you and it could be from such an innocuous child play. And you see
The parents who join.
the parents joining, the parties joining, on and on and on. So when we talk of flashpoint, we're talking about the possibility of anything happening there, but that doesn't mean it will. But some other innocuous situation can trigger all these things. It's only a trigger point.
I mean, there's this notion that, oh, Ghana for Ghanaians, when it comes to blood issues, nobody's going to stick his neck out, unlike the Nigerians or unlike, the North Africans who would face it. I mean, look at Turkey stopping a coup d'etat by standing in front of tanks. Yeah, who's going to stand in front of a tank? We're gone.
I tell you, I beg to differ. Those of us who travel and or go to places like that, places that had had such situations before, if you know the history, if you know what happened, you wouldn't believe it. In 1989, I went to Liberia. It was the first time I was in Liberia. And I saw life. I mean, the people in Akan Palace, they almost per life. A Liberian woman would dress like an 18th century Victorian kind of this thing, dressing just for the market. They love football. And they were so apolitical. I never saw, for the 3 weeks that I spent, look, I never saw any signs, and that was somewhere July, August or so. Then in December, there was war. Of course, there were signs or hearsays in the air about how they don't like the government and they were insulting Doe and that kind of, but everywhere they do, people are insulting Obama. everywhere, people insult every government. So those things didn't occur to me that didn't give me the inkling that something was in the offing. And Liberians, people I knew, they care about their rights, they care about life, So in Ghana, please let us not say that. If you look
according to the EC's deputy chairperson,
if you look at little things that happen, people go, they beat a certain chief because he belongs to some other place. People do this, if you look at Tafo, Kumasi, Aswasi, and all these things, little happenings, should tell you that when it comes to instability, people are crazy. People are mad. So I wouldn't say that as for Ghana, you throw Moja. When the Moja comes, there's nothing you can do about it.
Wow. Let me go on the phones and acknowledge Dr. Franklin Baini. Dr. Baini, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have in the studio Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso. And we're looking at, the police.
I'm afraid your voice is very faint. Can you do something about it?
I will try and speak up and see if it's any better. Is it any better?
Well, let's manage it so that I can hear exactly what you're trying to put across.
Sure. We are looking at the 5,000 flashpoints that have been identified for the 2016 elections. Now, as the conversation was going on, my last question to Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso was that, is it real, or are we just, being overly cautious, crying for peace, but in actual reality, the general Ghanaian won't hit the road to fight?
Well, I hope you pardon me. The little that I heard is what I'm going to look at because your voice is very faint. However, I want to appreciate my colleagues there who are contributing wonderfully. My greetings to them all. Gentlemen, I give you this evening. I want to greet you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Indeed, violence prevention or prevention program do currently exist. And with the background of what you have given me, for example, last year it was said that amount. Now it's been increased from that point to 5,000, which is really alarming. However, based on these current outcomes, they are largely considered to be from steps that maybe the institutions are taking or might have designed maybe ineffective or outdated. There are modern and strengths that are developing. What is being increasingly recognized is that attempts to combat electoral violence must be cyclical, I would say, in nature. Practitioners must indeed situate their work within the clearly defined framework where the objectives have been developed in suit or to suit that particular unique case. Now, this cyclical perspective should aid in better identifying the links between underlying and more obvious forms of electoral violence. So, on that note, all we are looking for, Ghanaians and all the stakeholders are looking for, is ensure that we find a solution to this. Okay, so the emphasis must be on community. I would suggest the emphasis therefore must be on a community-based, approach. The media, religious groups, and civil society collectively all play crucial internal roles in terms of assuming or ensuring credibility, monitoring elections, de-escalation, rising tensions, and presenting an impartial coverage of area. All these everybody's involved. Security is indeed, it's not one man business, it's all involvement, so that to promote peaceful coexistence. If groups such as these act as positive role models to terms of electoral conduct, it is likely to reassure those who turn to violence out of dissatisfaction within the credibility and the process of election. Okay.
Dr. Mine, let me ask you again. Are the flashpoints always, let's say, the deprived areas? Would you go to Trasa?
I'm struggling to hear you.
Hold on, let me do something very unconventional here. Is it any better?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was asking if the flashpoints are only going to be from the deprived areas. Would you go to like Airport Hills or Trasaco and think, oh yeah, these millionaires will come out and fight if I don't pay attention?
You mean the flashpoint? What again?
Are they normally, or are they only going to be the deprived areas?
Normally, you see, the flashpoints are. It varies. Depends. You see, like I was saying, the electoral violence in both these ends and countries, as we've known, it varies from one place to another. It can be local environment, but normally it's normally found in the cities. But these days, things have turned around everywhere, and because of ethnicity, ethnic violence, and the traditional and cultural setup, everywhere is can be identified or can be found to be experiencing a flashpoint could be a threat to security. So things have turned around. Unlike before, we can see some very particular places in the world, in the town or in the cities where political party leader is fighting for one thing or the other, and then their groups are also standing for one thing or the other. But now you could go down to the villages, rural areas, despite widely accepted hypothesis that elections do indeed act as a flashpoint for violence. The African Electoral Violence Database it determines that the violence is not an ambiguous outcome of democratization in Africa. You see? So this is what we have to know. So we don't have to really depend or focus on areas like the cities and the towns and the urban areas, but everywhere we need to rely more on intelligence gathering. The intelligence of every information that will come must be taken seriously. In security, we don't really put away, no matter how the weight of the information, it must be looked at and analyzed so that it can be able to extract a very good information out of them and act upon that.
Doctor, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, let me come to studio and talk to. I want to put the same question to you. When you say flashpoint, are you looking at shanty towns and slum areas, or can I come to your area as well, Dr. Vladimir? It looks like a flashpoint.
Well, those shanty towns and the shanty areas lend themselves justifiably to such kind of violence already, because persons in these areas, in the deprived areas, are especially known to be to have miscreants amongst them, drug abusers and things like that. The police know all these. But it doesn't mean that in the elite areas, these can't happen. You may have elite who are that vociferous, those people look up to, but who are how do I call it, uncouth in their language, unpolished in their attitude towards things. Let's assume I'm a die-in-the-wool kind of CPP, and in my area, I believe that some other parties want to encroach, and I strongly suspect that I want my candidate to win. And because I'm an intellectual, I believe that what I say, the people follow. And most importantly, maybe if I feel those little ones around, it's like whatever I say, they would do it. So in terms of conflict and kind of crisis situations like this, we don't necessarily think that it's only in the shanty towns that you can have this. It can happen also in the elite areas, you know. If you don't believe, you can imagine the primaries of both the NPP and the NDC, you know, at Darfur, at this town and that town. You could see how the elite in those areas just mentioned X and Y followed. So I wouldn't say that these flashpoints are mainly, and I will advise the police that they don't have to focus their attention only on the shanty towns.
Let me see if I can catch up with some of the messages that are coming in. This one says, it's high time we start thinking of our mother Ghana first before any other thing. You did not add your name to this. There's somebody's putting some advert on the screen, so I'm getting lots of messages to say get the advert off the screen. I don't know what it is. Nana, we live by hope as a people, but the reed cannot become an Iroko tree by dreaming. Okay, but the reed cannot become an Iroko tree by dreaming.
Yeah.
I mean, to wrestle power, we believe parties must work hard, but definitely not through violence. Going into the year's general election, Emmanuel Agblata in Ho. Let me come here. This one says, the police are responsible for all these flashpoints. Now, when Honorable somebody destroyed ballot papers, he was arrested and prosecuted. But when another one of course who took away the ballot box, nothing was done by the police. I think you were mentioning something about that when crime has a political color. Can you please allow us to watch the translation of the... Okay, I don't know what... There's somebody watching something, and this one is Shipman in Atonsu, and he says, fantastic submission by Dr. Inchidansu. The mantra, elections are won at the polling station, is dangerous. And I think that the security services must be practically watchful during the election so that we can maintain the peace that we are enjoying after 2016. That's something that we need to talk about. These elections are won at the table. Somalia Idris Yakubu Zakari in Prestia says, my good friend Anna, upon all these identified flashpoints, operations will be carried out and the victims involved will be set free without visiting the laws involved. As good people of Ghana, we should try and invest our full trust in the state-established institution, so long as we are the participants of democracy. God bless you, Dr. Danso. God bless state institutions, and God bless our own homeland, Ghana. That's a good one there. What's this one saying? Is it anything to do? Okay. Frimpong in Atimpoku. Good morning to you all. Oh, no, that's... how's your good morning message coming this evening? This one says, Nana, I have identified 5,000 flashpoints, but I don't think they add my constituency as soon as Full South, especially Sankore, from Abdullahi Kuku.
He's adding one more at least.
So we have 5,000. We're 5,200. That's if DC doesn't move to Bongo Tomaso.
Nana alone be the 200.
We have the 200 flash points. Can we ever stop this, or we are stuck in this cycle? Are we doomed?
So there is a possibility of stopping this, because the point is that the beauty of democracy is that it has a tendency of curing itself. And it's only when you have institutionalism. Institutions means the state institutions are able to cure themselves and be able to assert their independence and working according to the remit of the Constitution. Again, the second point is when you have constitutionalism, when people believe in the Constitution and therefore would want to work or relate to each other through the Constitution. And the third other point is the desire to consolidate democracy. In Turkey, for example, through Atatürk's, what Atatürk gave them, that secularity or secularism is the pivot of democracy. Let not the religion and the Disney be mixed. Of course, it's hiccuping badly. But then the people got up because they said they are proud of their religion. Can you imagine opposition parties rather rallying in support of the government so that they keep their democracy? In Ghana, excuse me, with all apologies, if this government is falling, I think there will be people who will be saying hooray, which is wrong. And the only thing we need right now is to rather say hooray to democracy. That we all believe in it, we consolidate it by obeying the tenets of democracy. Unfortunately, governments upon government have not been able to help us consolidate democracy. And it's only when we consolidate democracy that all these things will die. I can't see these things dying when we're rather consolidating the negative. If it is media indiscipline, media terrorism, we hail it and applaud it because it's coming from another quarter. If it is some, what do you call it, politician, big politician who has done something untoward, we begin to defend. If it's a big politician who has stolen some money, we begin to defend. These things will not augur well for our democracy for the future.
On that note, I'm going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, to find out what the way forward is to move. 5,000 flashpoints identified leading to 2016 elections, and we should all be minded. Let me catch up with some of your messages. This one says, unqualified languages being used by certain media outlets should also be identified as a flashpoint. This is Kwame. Kwame in Nkoko. Kwame. On that note, I get Doc to comment on the Muntie 3, because that's a flashpoint on its own. This one says Ghana has a long journey to go until the attitude of the people change. We continue to have the same story. You didn't add your name, but yes, I'm just wondering the day when, elections will just be another day on the calendar. This is from Courage at Frankedia. It's my, Frankedia area. Nana, Dr. Entry is a blessing for us. I wish baby politicians listen to him for a minute. Thanks so much for the Jolly Phonics too. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. This one says, please, Ghanaians, let us consider what has happened to most of the countries around us and protect the peace in our only country, Ghana. This is Reverend Abebio, Zion Church, Wasa Damai. True. Jolly Phonics, just briefly, diversion. It's a new form of teaching where they teach the sounds instead of the alphabet. And it's taught with science. Yes. And so all of a sudden, all my children in Dumasa can read
that's
now.
True.
Know. So yes, my brother, Jolly Phonics was a good thing. But Muntie, somebody says, look, unguarded speeches in radio stations should even be classified as a flashpoint. I mean, but on the Muntie 3, just you're a security expert. What are your views?
Well, Nana, it was an unfortunate situation, but in Ghana, you see, we allow things to fester to levels that reversals become a problem. I have had occasions, not only one occasion, I was invited to talk to the media at Clover House on occasions, and I showed vivid slides where the media has brought countries down. I got so many friends from the media. I don't know where that thing went. And yes, the media is a medium through which violence can be kind of, sold. In Rwanda, the First World War was brought by the media, the way the media handled it, yes. Even parts of the Second World War, the euphoria around it and how the media handled it. In Rwanda, and most of the media houses were owned by politicians, as we are having now in Ghana. And I have had occasions to warn this media kind of terrorism. And I say, it's said that media freedom. There's nothing like freedom, because your freedom ends at a certain point where somebody else is starting. So it's unfortunate we allowed this thing to fester in our country to the point that now anybody talks, anybody does anything. And the Muntie thing is also another very sour page in our political history, in the sense that it has happened, an institution of state, that is the judiciary, our last hope for democracy, has spoken. And one part of society stands up to put pressure on the president. I'm very much worried. Security-wise, it's not good, because any action the president takes has security implications. If the president removes them right now, it has security implications. A president has been said. People will agitate. If the president doesn't, it's a pressure on him from his party. I thought once people have gotten foul of the law must take its own course, first and foremost. If there could be a reprieve, I thought the elders of the party should have gone quietly to the president to talk this thing out with the president and not advertise what they are advertising, that we don't agree with it. President, do something. For me, this is very bad for the security of the state, that a party gets up, and I'm saying this genuinely from my heart, that the best would have been to talk to the president quietly, rather than advertising. Advertising means openly coming out to sign signatures, and forcing the president that do something. It means we supported what was happening, and we are saying that they were doing our bidding, so leave them. And that permeates the society also. There are several miscreants. Galamsey people who are arrested, and you get a call from the minister or from somebody say that, oh, they are our boys and whatnot. It's Ghana which suffers in the end. From the security point of view, my personal advice to the president is for him to tread cautiously and make this thing clearly as a lesson for all of us, so that we handle this as we go into elections.
Messages are coming. Another winner takes all syndrome. Elections being won at the polling station mantra, and greed is accountable for these flashpoints. We need to tackle the aforementioned with, if we have to make breakthroughs. Emmanuel Plata in Ho. This one says, Nana, I enjoy the program, but please display the name of your guest intimately for those who just joined the program to know the guest better. Ibrahim. It's called Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso. I'm talking to Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso, and he wears many hats. Today he's here as a security analyst, but he's a lecturer at the Armed Forces College.
Command and Staff College. Actually, I'm the Director of Academic Affairs.
There you go. Totally, he wears many hats. It's about 5,000. Is it about 5,000 or is it 5,000? Is it only aggregated? Why that around figure? The police should stop causing fear and panic. Ghanaians need peace. So there's a lot. Nana, my constituency, Asonafo South, is also a flashpoint. During elections, some people use all possible means to snatch ballot box, but there will be no arrest because some ministers, they back them. From Abdullahi in Kokom. So, Doc, like you're saying, there are some flashpoints out there. Who's that?
Which they themselves have identified.
They identified.
The police may not know.
Maybe they've counted you in the 5,000.
And then your 200 may not also have been counted.
My 200 is definitely not counted. So, Alaji EA30, DC, please. I'm telling you, I am a flashpoint on its own. Doc, briefly, what Ghana would you have wanted to live in?
I would have loved to see a Ghana prosperous, living together, multi-ethnic, all of us better than that one canopy called the Constitution. A constitutionalist Ghana, institutionalist Ghana, that we all believe in our institutions, that who governs does not matter to me or to all of us. How he governs should be, and how he governs, we all know, because it's in the Constitution. So I believe Ghanaians should not bother so much about killing themselves for the sake of somebody whom they will never see again, maybe, for the rest of their lives. There are a lot of people who voted President Mahama who've never seen him except for television and will never see him. Even though those of us outside see him every day, we are closer to him. And they and their children, you know, the people who are ready to take up arms and whatnot, they and their children may just suffer. I have several films, when I watch them with my family, they sober us because they make us know what happens. 2-year-old children with their hands being chopped off because of politics. 12-year-old children hacking themselves with machetes. I have all these films. And when I show them when I'm teaching, I think I see the soberness in the faces of the people I'm teaching. But Ghanaians should know that when it comes to the crunch, there's no turning back. I would like to see a peaceful Ghana. Who rules should not matter so much. How the person rules must be our concern.
How the person rules should be our concern. And those of you who follow, you know that my wife is always at home checking me. He says, sweet, it's pronounced Esonafo. I kept saying Asonafo. It's pronounced Esonafo. And it's the sweet. Always read through your messages before you read it out. It's allowed. So I've been corrected. Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And the number you want is 024-366-2001. 024-366-2001. They are Tantis Fashions. They make my shirts, and give them a call and we'll make you a nice shirt. Wherever you are in the country, they'll get it delivered to you. And as usual, tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you so much for watching. And Doc, much appreciated.
You're very welcome.
All the messages are like thumbs up to you.
Thank you.
And so I think we have enjoyed him.
Right.